Alright everybody, we are back with more of Avadon, the Black Fortress, so it's time for us to continue on here. This time we are back at Avadon finally, but something has happened. You stagger away from the platform, barely able to remain standing. Something about this journey makes it far worse than previous times you used the pylons. Finally, your senses start to return to you. You look around only to find that you are alone. Your companions have gone missing. You look back at the portal. The nimbus of power that surrounds it is faded and flickering. That might explain the difficulty of the journey. And then you hear something to the west. An explosion, then screaming, then the sounds of fighting. The smell of smoke is heavy in the air, and the guards are gone. The floor under your feet vibrates from distant impacts. Something has gone very wrong here. Avadon is under attack. Well, as you walk around the corner, the gate to the south, which leads to the barracks, is open. 3 Avadon guards run through it. Their weapons are drawn and their armor is scratched and scorched. They are fleeing for their lives. Moments later, several more warriors pass under the open gate, chasing them. They wear the garb of Shadow Walkers, black masks obscuring their faces. And yet, they don't move like Shadow Walkers, and the weapons are wrong. The blades of their pursuers are drawn and stained with blood. They pursue the guards of Avadon with silent, deadly purpose. Well, we are going to fight back, though. Alright, well, depending on what kind of character you chose to play this game, you are going to have to be pretty tactical in this sequence of events. We do have wands now, so let's go ahead and use them. Okay, so they're immune to the corruption. Okay, so that was not good. But we can still do this, I think. This time I am going to take my time with this and not rush anything. And I'm not worried about looting either, so... My Blade Master should at the very least be able to tank pretty well, though. Oh no, you ain't escaping me, dude. Okay, I want to try to avoid them if I can. At last, you find a familiar face. Very familiar. Hart Miranda is here, standing next to a portal. Through the portal, you can see a faint cityscape of old buildings and tall, elegant spires. And yet, like everything else you have seen, something is not right here. Miranda is wearing traveling clothes and a thick leather cloak. She holds a bulging satchel in one hand and a wand in the other. There are 2 dead servants in the room, a hand and an eye. As you approach her, she watches you warily. Ah, Xander, you have returned to Avadon. Perhaps not too late, either. You have arrived in interesting times. Times when things can change very quickly. You look through the portal and try to identify the city you are seeing. You have never been there, but something about it seems very familiar. Miranda, what has happened here? An attack. The assassins came in the middle of the night. Some Avadon warriors were traitors, and they allowed the assassins entry. At least, that is my guess. Then oddly, she smiles. I have been avoiding the invaders. I had too much to do. Who killed these two people? Oh, assassins, no doubt, she says airily. That is the sort of thing that has been happening in your absence. I need to report what has happened. What? Report? Oh, yes. I would like to know what has happened in Castle Vebo. That information has not reached me yet. We did get word from Duke Griffin about the accusations against you and your flight into the woods. Now you have returned. Tell me, what happened to Duke Griffin? I need a report to Redbeard. Where is he? He is trapped in his tower. We've heard nothing from him. He may be wounded or dead. You will report to me. I don't know. I slipped past him to return to Avadon. Our Miranda is distracted enough that the lie seems to slip by her. So Duke Griffin surprised your no doubt dramatic rampage. Very interesting. Very useful. And tell me this. Did you find any evidence indicating who is responsible for the attacks against Avadon? I need some answers before I tell you anything else. Oh, I will tell you all you want to know very soon. Have no worries. However, you must first finish your report. I haven't learned anything yet. Art Miranda nods. I am sure that the assassins have done a very good job of hiding all evidence. This is significant. I have but one more question, and then I will know what I need to. What is it? The Wayfarer was going to track you down in the Barraza woods. It was chaotic. His success was far from assured. Did he find you? And what happened? Oh, snap. Wait, how do you know of the Wayfarer? Simple child, do you think a mysterious stranger could track one of my hands for months without me knowing? Without my permission? Answer my question. I met the Wayfarer and he spoke treason to me. I drove him off. Miranda nods. The Wayfarer thought that you might be turned away from Avadon. He took a great risk tracking you down and it clearly did not pay off. For him, I mean. Though she seems lost in thought, you note that she is edging closer and closer to the portal. Valuable information. That is all I need to know from you. There are now things that I need to know. You start to ask Miranda a question when you look at the portal again. You recognize the buildings on the other side. You have never been in the Tawan Empire, the farthest and most powerful of the Farlands, but you have seen drawings of the cities there. Proud, crumbling, large, built from stone. The portal now leads to one of them, with its distinctive marble halls and elegant spires. You look from the spires to Miranda. The wand in her hand now points at you. There is no trace of a smile on her face. Turn aside your wand, Miranda. I think not. You are too dangerous and unpredictable, whatever your plans. My work in Avadon is done. I am taking my records and I am leaving. The Black Fortress can crumble into dust, for all I care. But you were Redbeard's most loyal servant. His most loyal slave. Redbeard long ago became distant and arbitrary, and his hands were fully corrupt. When my husband and I came here, we thought we could improve things. I soon gave up on that foolish dream. He was more idealistic. And what happened? He tried to kill Redbeard. He failed. I was forced to renounce my darling before my eyes. Then Redbeard had him killed. To save my own life, I swore total loyalty to Redbeard. I groveled. I abased myself. And I dreamed of revenge. Okay, so I have to admit that when I first played this, I suspected Miranda, from the get-go, I feel like, due to how... Well, not necessarily from the get-go. It wasn't until I found that dialogue in one of the earlier missions in the Avadon dungeons where she was engaged to someone who was killed or something like that, that I began to suspect, well, she has a very good motivation. And the thing about it is, too, is why in the heck would Redbeard still hire someone who might still hold a grudge against him? But apparently she put on quite the act in order to convince him. And it worked. So you are behind everything that has happened. The dead hands, the chaos across Linnaeus. Don't be foolish. I have been very valuable, but I am not the source of the attacks against the Pact. I've been a useful tool to Avadon's enemies, and no more. Do you know who attacked Avadon? The Farlands, the enemies of the Pact, the oppressed who are going to crush Avadon into dust and win their freedom from the Pact's rule. Miranda's eyes get a mad glint. Those who tolerated all the corruption, the cruelty, the deaths of those who would make things better, they will all pay. Why are you telling me all this? Not because I like to talk. I tell you because you are my special creation. You were groomed by me to see all the weaknesses of Avadon. In you, I saw the potential. At last, the true potential. Potential for what? Potential to strike down Redbeard at last. Potential to become Keeper. Keeper Xander. You could do it, I thought, if you were properly pushed. Surrounded by potential traitors. Tempted and taught by the Wayfarer. Surrounded by traitors? I gathered all the hands of the most dubious loyalty, the ones with the greatest grudges against Avadon. I partnered them with you. Your friends are not powerful enough to change anything. Too arrogant, or inept, or confused. Their purpose was to shake your loyalty, or, if nothing else, to show you the true nature of Redbeard's power. You sent the Wayfarer? He is one of the most loyal and effective servants of the enemies of Avadon. At my suggestion, he was sent to instruct you in just how corrupt Avadon was. He tried to teach you how much the Black Fortress misuses his power. Enough talking. What do you want, Miranda? I've seen how well you fight, how much cunning you have, how much skill. I want you to take the power you deserve, that you are destined to have. Redbeard is up there now, up in his tower. He may be dead, but knowing how hardy that old serpent is, probably not. You must go up there and strike him down. Become the Keeper. Okay, so again, it still rubs me the wrong way that people are trying to tell me that I should have this power. Like, really, it's not something I wanted. I'm just happy to serve and do my duty. I am loyal to Redbeard and Avadon, whatever his flaws. Miranda nods somberly. Then my noble effort to turn you has failed. Oh well. We have plenty of other ways to destroy the old tyrant. We will manage. What will you do now? I will leave for my new home in the Farlands. We will work to destroy Avadon and slay Redbeard, if he lives. My vengeance has only just begun. No, a traitor like you can't be allowed to live. You try to take Heart Miranda by surprise, it doesn't work. She raises her wand and edges ever closer to the portal that can carry her to safety. I thought we might turn you, that you might replace Redbeard, Keeper Xander. Instead, you are as servile as all the others. With the word of command, power flies out of the wand. Again, like I said, having that much power would just only make me a target, which I do not want. Now I feel like letting Duke Riffin go, even though it was a canon choice, kind of makes me think of Point Break in a way. And the Fast and the Furious, where the main character ends up letting the main criminal they are meant to bring in go. So I can understand why that's a choice, even if I wouldn't choose it personally. If it was all up to me. Well, technically, it is all up to you, but you get what I mean. I am keeping this a canon playthrough, though. Okay, enough of that ensnaring effect. I don't remember if I killed Miranda in my first playthrough, though. You manage to land a solid blow on Miranda. She seems slightly dazed and blood starts to flow. She looks down at it with disbelief. What am I doing? My days of battle are long past, and you are truly dangerous. No, I will deal with you later. She allows herself to fall backwards, through the portal. Moments after she vanishes, the field energy begins to warp and flicker. The city within fades away. Following her through the portal is impossible. Miranda is gone. You suddenly feel a great need to find Redbeard. He is most likely to be in his tower. There are several Avadon guards cowering here. One is seriously wounded. The others are shocked and insensate by the fury of the surprised soul. You try to goad them into action, but they refuse to move. At this point, all they are hoping for is survival. Okay, well, I kind of get that, actually. Dang, where is everybody at? Okay, we are going to have to go up to... I knew there would be some fight up here. Let's go ahead and fight them then. I mean, we have time in the playthrough. Okay, that's not what I want. Yeah, I might actually get this ending covered in the whole playthrough, since I took the easiest route, it looks like. Just make sure we avoid the obviously there were more assassins in that section, but we did manage to avoid them. Obviously we don't need to fight everybody. At the top of the stairs, you see a familiar face. Hand Callan runs up to you, trailed by several warriors. Her blade is drawn and shows signs of recent use. She pants. Xander, you have returned. I am glad to see it. This is a dark day for Avadon. We have been trying to reach Redbeard, but without success. Now we are going back downstairs to drive the invaders from our fortress. I am looking for my companions. Callan nods. They were helping me to find Redbeard. You will find them to the north. You could not find Redbeard? No, and it makes no sense. This is the darkest day for Avadon in recent memory. Why is he not out here, rallying the troops and fighting by our side? Many loyal servants of the Black Fortress have died today. I need to know what happened here. We were attacked, by surprise and from within, and... She shakes her head. It has been a disaster. Tell me more about the attack. There is still little that I know. Somehow, dozens of assassins gained entrance to the Black Fortress in the middle of the night. With the advantage of surprise and darkness, many of our best were dead before they had a chance to draw their blades. Who has been lost? I can't yet be sure. The librarian, Illyra, fell under their blades while weaving a spell to save herself. I saw it with my own eyes. As for the others lost, the time to make a tally is after the assassins are gone. Oh dang, Illyra died. That sucks. How did you survive? Pure luck. One of my guards let out a scream as the assassins tried to kill her in her bed. She was slain, but the sound woke some of us up. What will you do? You should stay up here and find Redbeard. We will go downstairs, kill all the invaders we can, and locate Hart Miranda. In Redbeard's absence, she can take command. There's something you should know. You quickly tell Han Callan what transpired down below. She is, predictably, stunned. Can this be true? Even Hart Miranda? I mean, Miranda, even she has turned against us? No matter. I am loyal and I am ready to fight. The battle awaits us below. Good luck. I will look around up here. Good luck to you, Xander. If we survive, a long, hard job of rebuilding awaits us. Han Callan runs downstairs, eager to fight. Her warriors follow. Okay, at least she's still alive. Okay, where are my companions at, though? You enter an old, stately hall, one that is usually locked away. It is both lovely and imposing, and someone recently went to the effort of lighting candles all along its length. It stretches off into the shadows to the east. You see another exit at the far end. Perhaps Redbeard retreated here when the attack happened. Then someone steps out from behind a pillar. The hall is not empty. You see one of your companions ahead, waiting for you and eager to talk. Devlin walks up to you. Xander, it is a relief to see you. When you didn't emerge from the portal at the same time I did, I assumed you were lost. Everything has gone mad here. Avadon once played so casually with everyone's lives. My life. Now it can barely protect itself. And yet, here we are, sworn to protect it. I follow the stone code. I am no oathbreaker. And yet, how am I best to serve Avadon? I think that our time following Miranda's orders is done. Do you still have need of me? I am looking for Redbeard. He looks to the east. I think that the keeper is back there, behind a locked gate. He has not let me in. For you, it might be different. Okay, so I did not support him in his own, like, storyline mission overall, so I don't think he will take my side. So I'll just say, no, go back downstairs and help to drive out the invaders. I will continue without you. Sevlin is surprised by this, but he nods calmly. I hope I have given you no reason to doubt my competence. I bid you farewell, Xander, and good luck in your hunt for Redbeard. We are at the beginning of dark times. He salutes you with his blade and walks to the south, ready to do battle. Shima emerges from the shadows. He is clearly relieved to see you. Welcome, Xander. You have missed eventful times. The portal had been disrupted during the attack. We were afraid that you would be unable to return. The attack is almost over. Soon I think the assassins will be destroyed. We will count and bury our dead. I have been tasked to find what has happened to Redbeard. I may do this. But then, what? I can no longer put my full faith in his leadership. Not after all I have learned. Where should I go? What should I do? I don't think we can convince him, so we'll just say, you should go downstairs and help to drive out the invaders. I have no more need of you. Shima nods, his face betraying not a hint of emotion. I hope I have done nothing to give offense. I've tried to aid you to the best of my ability. Still, Xander, if this is what you think is best, I wish you good hunting. With one final nod, he leaves to the south. Janelle is sitting on a marble bench, feeding a tiny salamander. When she sees you, she dispels it with a wave of her hand. She rises and puts her hand on your arm. Xander, I had feared that you were dead, lost in the mad flight from Castle Vebo. It is good to have you here. You can help us in the hunt for Redbeard. The enemy seems to be defeated, but our leader remains at large. Dead? Hiding? Cowering? We should find out. She sighs. Then I have to decide where to go. I have learned too much about Avadon over the last few months. Is the pact even good for my people? I am no longer sure. What little certainty I had has faded away. Okay, so this time, since I did help her out during her storyline mission, I will say, I want you to continue to fight at my side. Janelle thinks hard about this. Finally, she looks you in the eye. When my fellow warriors of the Wild Realm were threatened, you helped me to save them. When you could have killed them, you spared them. I offered you my gratitude, and I am still in your debt. Before we continue, I have a question for you. Xander, based on all you have seen, is Redbeard still the right man to command Avadon? Is he making Avadon do what is best for the pack? He is not perfect, but he's doing the best one leader could possibly do. One leader. Yes, we are all at the mercy of that one man. One immortal, arrogant, capricious man. The state of things was decided by wiser heads than me, and yet I can't help but question it. Let us go, Xander, and find Redbeard. I will discharge my debt to you. Whatever you decide in the end, I will be at your side. Okay, so we at least get Janelle back. Not that it matters anyway, but yeah. Nathalie is waiting for you at the east end of the hall. For once, her arm doesn't seem to be bothering her. It hangs, relaxed, at her side. Right now, the look in her eyes is a source of more concern. She looks wild, almost out of control. Her hands are shaking. She turns to look at you. For a moment, she doesn't seem to recognize you. Then, finally, something clicks. She runs up and embraces you. Xander, you have returned. You are well. I am pleased. Avadon has gone mad. It is crumbling. Surely you have seen it for yourself. I have been standing here, unsure what to do. Should I even stay here? I wanted to hear what you had to say. Of all of Avadon, you are the only one who saw my potential. I want to put your skills to use. Continue to fight on my side. Of course. Xander, you are the only one who ever seemed to recognize my power. These other fools, they ignored me, and look at what a mess Avadon is in now. You saved my life, and I will do as you say. I wish I could say the same for Redbeard, but his time is ending. He has allowed everything to crumble around him. He commands to no fear, hands being murdered. Me, abandoned, my arm ruined. It always hurts. His power is fading. Perhaps someone might replace him. She looks at you with a gleam in her eye. Perhaps already picturing the day when you make her a heart. Okay, now at this point, this whole you gotta replace Keeper Redbeard is starting to come off as a broken record at this point. Redbeard rules here. You must make your peace with it. Naphtali goes from pleased to furious in a moment. Then I must continue to labor under him, all of my power and skill, held back and left to gather dust. But we did swear an oath, I suppose. I owe you much. I will trust you in this. I owe you my life, and you know how to make use of my power. Whatever you decide in the end, I will follow you. As you walk farther east, the halls get darker and dirtier. The gate ahead is open. The ceremonial hall doesn't look like it has been used for many years. Perhaps it is used for the coronation of a new keeper. Since Redbeard has been in charge for many decades, that would explain why it has been left sealed. But it is open now, and someone is fighting within. As you approach, you see flashes of light and hear the clash of steel on steel. You see the shadows of two people, one smaller, one larger, fighting to the death. You are just in time to interrupt the savage duel. You walk unnoticed into the ceremonial hall. To the southeast, in the middle of an enchanted circle, you see Redbeard. He is in furious single combat with the Shadow Walker. At least he is dressed like a Shadow Walker. The two of them are dueling both with blades and with magic. Redbeard wears many enchanted pieces of jewelry. These constantly provide him with protective spells and spit fire and lightning where he desires. The Shadow Walker, in turn, has many of the tricks of his kind. Decoys flicker into being, attack, and fade away. He constantly produces pods, potions, and pouches of dust from his robes. You move into the hall, hoping for a closer view. As you slip into the room, Redbeard and the assassin continue their duel. Vicious blows and spells fly back and forth at blinding speed. You stand a safe distance away. If you try to get involved, you could easily hit the wrong target. We are Legion. As you move into the hall, Redbeard finally gets the upper hand in the battle. The Keeper of Avadon, unwounded and barely breathing hard, summons a blast of energy. Just as he finally recognizes the Shadow Walker, Redbeard's spell flies toward his chest. He dodges the blast, but it grazes him. The Wayfarer, attempted assassin of the Keeper of the Black Fortress, flies back across the room. Redbeard doesn't leave his protective circle. He points a mailed hand at the Wayfarer, ready to deliver another spell. The Wayfarer slowly rises to his feet. Then he sees you. He reaches up and pulls off his mask. You see that he is a middle-aged man of Eastern Linnaeus. He is a skilled warrior and assassin, but he is no Hochlandan at all. Redbeard flicks his eyes towards you, takes in your presence, and then returns his attention to his foe. Shadow Tarkus. He says, I knew you would return here in time. As a prisoner of my victim, it is all the same. As a prisoner or my victim, it is all the same to me. Oh, so the Wayfarer was Shadow Tarkus all along, so that's pretty interesting. Shadow Tarkus? Redbeard nods, an assassin and spy for the Farlands. If a Cimmerian or Tawan or warrior of Savorgald wants a loyal citizen of the Pact killed, Tarkus will do it for a price. From your vantage point, you can see that Tarkus' hand is inching slowly toward one of the pouches on his belt. Redbeard, he's reaching for something. Tarkus' hand darts toward his pouch. Redbeard mutters a word of command. The muscles in the assassin's arm seize up. He shouts in pain. Thank you, Redbeard says. Tarkus turns his head to face you. He is furious. So you are finally here, Xander. Made it through Vebo, I see. I knew you would. Now I suppose you will watch me die, grinning and gloating all the while. Watch as a cowardly tyrant of Linnaeus claims another victim. Redbeard, I will kill Tarkus myself. Redbeard nods approvingly. Then he takes a step back. Well done, Xander. That is the spirit I like to see in my hands. Be my guest. Shadow Tarkus turns and with a snarl of fury leaps at you. My time with you was wasted. How I have longed to do this. Yep, indeed. You could not persuade me at all. The Wayfarer takes a step back and raises the clay globe in his hand. Don't get too confident, Xander. I still have plenty of tricks left. He drops the globe and smashes it under his boot. A moment later, a translucent decoy of the Wayfarer appears. Unlike most such enchanted decoys, however, this one can move and attack. Well, we still know who the rare one is, so what does it matter? Oh, I should have gotten closer with the Drake, actually, since he's powered up here. He is summoning a bunch of decoys, though. Sucks we can't use the ability a second time. Although, yeah, I just need to get the Drake closer if I'm able to kill him attack a second time. The assassin collapses, coughing and spitting blood. What a waste. I was a fool. I wasted my life on this attempt. I might, and then he is silent. Redbeard turns to you. Now that ugly business is settled, I need your report. There is much to discuss, plan, and do. Okay, so we still need to kill the decoys, apparently. Dang, how many of these decoys are gonna be? Okay, it disappeared. Well, that would have been good for Shima if we killed the Wayfarer earlier. Redbeard looks at the crumpled body on the floor before him with clinical detachment. That was a long-delayed bit of business. Were this a happier day, I would take some satisfaction in it. As it is, he has distracted me at a time when I couldn't afford to. What gets my attention, however, is that you seem to have spoken to him already. And, judging from your actions, seems to have had some luck planting disloyalty in your soft head. Redbeard looks at you intently. Tell me, how did you know this creature? You suspect that your answers to his questions will make a huge difference in how things go for you. How did he distract you? All sorts of trickery. When I realized that we were under attack, I found gates locked and passages full of traps and hostile shades. When I was about to return to the main floor of the fortress, that was when Shadow Tarkus stepped out to attack. That creature truly thought he had a chance to best me. Humorous. You give Redbeard a quick summary of your interactions with Tarkus, trying as much as possible to keep you from sounding like a traitor. He was a cunning and persistent fellow. Better hands than you have been turned by his wiles. He must have seen great potential in you, but you seem to have resisted. A mark in your favor. But enough about this refuse. He has wasted enough time. I need your report. Speak quickly. Report what exactly? Redbeard is trying to seem casual and unruffled, but you have learned how to tell when he is angry. And right now, he is absolutely furious. I need to go downstairs, show myself, and regain control over my fortress. First, I must have as much information as possible. Tell me, what is happening below? Once I hear what you have to say and speak with Heart Miranda, I will be able to act. You didn't know that Miranda is a traitor? Miranda? A traitor? The most loyal of my wives? You must be joking. Then he sees the look in your eyes. For the first time, Redbeard is thrown off balance. In fact, he is stunned. You speak the truth. Miranda has betrayed us. She still held a grudge against me all this time? I must. No. There is time for anger later. A horrible vengeance will fall upon her. For now, I still have my duty. Tell me, what happened with Lord Griffin? I received some confusing reports. Lord Griffin declared me a criminal and sent his soldiers to hunt me. That is indeed what was reported to me. A repeat of that business with Han Gavin. That was very odd. For you to report a traitor as well made me suspicious. Lord Griffin is no longer trying to make peace with Hoklanda. Grim news, but not unexpected. I supported him in his noble, doomed quest as best I could. I did not, however, expect the consequences of its failure to be so dire. Lord Griffin was a traitor. I killed him. Happily, Redbeard seems to believe you. This is grim news, a sad day for the Pact. And surely his treachery is related to the other problems we are having. In killing him, you did well. Now I must work to prevent war between Hoklanda and Kalimdariel, a disastrous conflict that is already, I suspect, underway. There is but one more thing I need to ask, then we can begin to plan. Yes? I believe that everything that has happened, the attacks on Avadon, the attacks on Hands, the madness in the Cava and Camaria, and the treachery of Duke Griffin are all linked. Someone powerful is plotting against Avadon and the Pact. He looks at you somberly. Do you know who is responsible? He leans forward, desperate for your answer. You haven't learned for yourself yet? I will confess, I have been complacent. It took far too long for me to realize that all the problems we have been having were related. I have not had time to properly hunt for whoever is responsible. I never learned who was responsible. That is woeful news. I had hoped that you would learn something from Duke Griffin. Now we must spend valuable time and resources locating our target before we can attack. What will happen to me? Yes. What will happen to you? You have shown such great skill and potential. I can't afford to use good material inefficiently. I shall spare you a moment more. Before we decide where you are to be sent, is there anything you wish to say about Avadon? Why did you pardon Cahill after he killed several Hands? because the information Cahill gave me saved the lives of more hands and many people of the pack in the bargain. Those with valuable information will not give it unless Avadon offers things in return and then lives up to his word. Okay, on this one, I kind of get where Redbeard was going with this, but at the same time, I still disagree because Cahill and those guys were murderers. So, yeah, I would not have worked with criminals at all personally, so I don't fully agree with Redbeard on that. Like, I get why he ultimately pardoned them, but if I did decide to kill him, kill Cahill, then yeah, it would have been more than fair, I think. Why is Avadon allied with the Honored Forge, the destroyers of Shima's Three Spears clan? Because the Three Spear clan often spoke out against Avadon, while the Honored Forge helped us whenever possible. If you believe that Avadon only fights for the good of the Pact, then you must see only one choice was available for me. Oh boy. Yeah, it is a complicated situation, unfortunately. But this is one of the cases where I do agree with Redbeard. I mean, he was pretty much given one option there. So I completely understand that viewpoint. Loyal warriors of the Wild Realm have been driven into Chimera for following the laws of their people. The laws of the Wild Realm? Who cares a whit for them? I look after the lives of 5 nations, not one. The Wild Realm greedily grabs the safety we provide and ignores its responsibilities, and I am expected to show sympathy? Nonsense. Redbeard looks at Janelle. I will forgive your little adventures against my better judgment. Those warriors you want to save, they deserve their fate, and more. Janelle nods in response. You can't read her expression. Okay, so that is also one where I disagree with Redbeard on, because I don't think they deserved it if they didn't actually do any harm. But I kind of understand his viewpoint at the same time. Nathalie went to hunt Zossa Mindtaker. Why didn't you help? Why do you waste my time with this trivia? The fate of the Pact is on the balance, and you are worried about one pest? One of hundreds? Thousands? That Drake is not important. Show some sense of proportion. Then he looks at Nathalie. You are young and so show some potential, but you are arrogant and you tend to obsess. If you do not control those traits, there is no future for you anywhere. Nathalie meets his gaze. She is not at all convinced. Okay, now on this one, I do fully agree with Redbeard on, though. Nathalie was very reckless into hunting the pest after to hunt Zossa Mindtaker, even though he did a lot of harm. I mean, he still ran away, but it still was time wasting for her to just go on her own without help and to go without. At the same time, killing Zossa Mindtaker doesn't hurt Avadon or the Pact, because he was just a pest, but yeah, Nathalie was just way too proud in this case, so I do fully agree with Redbeard on this one. I only wish to serve Avadon and fight for the Pact. Redbeard nods. You are still young, but you have already accomplished much. I see steel within you. You may still have a great part to play here. So tell me, the time has come to decide. You are young and foolish, but I see steel in you yet. Are you ready to put your foolish doubts away and fight for Avadon? And, if so, in what role? I will... Oh, it's interesting that we are given this choice. I'm not going to become Keeper for reasons I've already said in the playthrough. I believe we were a bit too not loyal enough to become a Heart, though. And I would be interesting, but I just like the adventure of being a hand more, to be honest. I will remain a hand. Then your wish will be granted. For now. With your potential, I think letting you stay a hand for too long would be a waste of potential. Now that it is settled, it is time. It is time to go downstairs. We will show ourselves. We will take command of the Black Fortress. We will show all that we are bloodied, but we are unafraid. And then we will go forth and give all we have to protect the people of the Pact. Whoever is behind the troubles we have suffered, that blackguard had best run in fear. Today, he, she, or it is marked for death. We will not stop until the villain is destroyed and all see the penalty of opposing us. I have been weak and distracted. This ends now. Come, Xander. Today we begin to fight back. Are you ready? Yes, Keeper Redbeard. Redbeard steps out of his protective circle. Together you leave the ceremonial hall and walk toward the stairs. Now, at last, the real battle is about to begin. The sun rose the next morning over a blasted and burned Avadon. The assassins who snuck in through the low tunnels had all either been killed or managed to escape. The survivors, stunned by the brazen attack upon the heart of Avadon's power, wandered the halls, taking note of the damage. The destruction was considerable. The libraries were burned. Lyra, librarian of Avadon, was found murdered in the stacks. Centuries of records and accumulated knowledge, not to mention invaluable reports on the current state of Linnaeus, were now ashes. Many of the hands who survived the attacks and ambushes of the last few months were dead. Workshops were destroyed. The mind-reading crystals of the dungeons were smashed. The stunned, surviving hands and eyes followed their first instinct, which was to look for Hart Miranda, Redbeard's most trusted administrator. They did not find her. They did not yet know of her treachery. Of course, they will have many chances to curse it in the months to come. So then they went to Redbeard's tower, looking for their leader. When they found that the gates to the Hall of Resolution were sealed, panic began to spread. Then, just as the newly terrified and broken warriors of Avadon were about to shed their training and determination, loot the Citadel, and flee, the gates opened. They ran through. In the hall, they found Redbeard. You stood by his side. You had been sorely tested a number of times, and yet you remained loyal to the pack. Your companions still stood by your side, inspired by you to remain loyal to the pact. Once full of doubt, they finally were helped to see that their true enemies were not in Avadon, but the Farlands. Redbeard turns to you and places a hand on your shoulder. I know that you have followed a difficult path lately. The work you have had to do was hard. You have been given many chances to doubt the work we do, and perhaps my leadership has not been as strong as it should be. Yet you have prevailed. You have withstood both danger and confusion, and you have stayed loyal. I will remember this, and you will be rewarded. Then, as more and more survivors of the assault enter the hall, Redbeard starts questioning the hands. He learns of the damage that was suffered and the loyal servants that were lost. His feelings are clearly visible on his face. First surprise and shock, then limitless rage. He stands and steps forward, ready to give a speech to his demoralized followers. I owe you an apology. I am old. For the first time, I think I might be too old. And yet, this crisis has happened while I am in charge. It is my responsibility, and I will face it. I have been complacent. I have not watched the day-to-day operation of this fortress enough. I have trusted my servants, and some of them have rewarded us with betrayal. From now until I fall, I will not let my attention wander again. We don't know who's responsible for the attacks we have suffered, both on our hands in the field and Avadon itself. I promise you this, we will find out and we will be avenged. The pact is under attack, my friends. Hanvar's council is divided and confused, and it relies upon Avadon to save it. We will not shrink from this task. I like for the artwork back here, by the way. This is apparently supposed to be Sevlin, I think. But he has a different character model than what he has in game. This is Shima, and this is Janelle, clearly. But that I guess that was just an oversight, because that's just a random hand. The hands in attendance cheer at this. They have been reminded who they are, servants of the Pact and of Avadon. They practically run from the room, ready to rebuild this fortress and begin the hunt. You join them. It is the beginning of months of hard work. As investigations began and many difficult conversations happened with Hanvar's council, you learn something of what has been happening elsewhere in Linnaeus. The unrest in the Wretchlands does not end, it only grows worse. The people of the Cava have to fight off constant incursions of wretches, ogres, and even the occasional titan. Zethron continues to aid the pack, but only because of his grievous wounds. When he recovers, he might well depart. The dragon Zephrine soon shows herself to be no ally to the pack. She only grows more firmly entrenched in the Wretchlands, building her defenses and gathering allies. It will be some time before anyone has the strength to dislodge her. Fortunately, we're able to return the secret papers you found in the lair of the Titans to Avadon. Once these messages are decoded, the hidden layers of many hostile Farlanders are revealed. Using this information, the Keva is able to do much to destroy their enemies. In Chimeria, much as predicted, the many enemies of Doralstead soon gather. They rush in, ready to destroy Doralstead and claim Ogrim Torch for themselves. They find the stead greatly depleted. Most of its best warriors were lost during your assault. The invaders charge through Doralstead's meager defenses and seize Karsta Arl's mighty fortress. Within weeks of your final departure, Doralstead is no more. Unfortunately, the Demon Lord Belloc remains in Chimeria, precariously balanced between our world and the Infernal Realms. In these chaotic times, Avadon is unable to find the time and resources to deal with this powerful threat. So far, nobody has found a way to master Belloc and help the beast to enter our world. All you can do is hope that this powerful threat stays trapped where it is. The news from the Baratha Woods is grim. You know now that Duke Griffin had Monitor Shagaz and his fellow warriors murdered. However, Avadon is unable to convince Hoklanda that this assault was the act of a traitor. The Hoklandans only see the murder of their countrymen by their hated rivals. Hanvar's council does all it can to calm the two rivals, to little avail. For the first time in almost a century, the pack seems threatened by civil war. If it is not prevented, it will be a disaster beyond reckoning. It is here that the hidden foes of the pack have scored their true victory. It will only be revealed in the months and years to come whether this wound to the pack is a mortal one. Eventually, Avadon is rebuilt. The damage is repaired. More hands are quickly recruited, and yet it has lost many of its most experienced servants and almost all of its records. Worse, it has lost its aura of invulnerability. For the first time in many years, many stop fearing Avadon. While on missions, hands are frequently attacked and sometimes killed. There is little fear of reprisal. Walls are easily repaired, wounds to reputation are far harder to cure. Things are not well in the pack. Hoklanda and Kalimdaro edge closer and closer to war. Instead of concentrating on defending themselves from the enemies at the gates, the pack states jockey for advantage and plan for civil war. From time to time, you hear tales of Duke Griffin. He travels through Kalimdaro in secret, urging his people to leave the pact and ally with the Tawan Empire. Many are listening to him. For the first time in many years, the pack seems to be in danger of falling apart. Avadon hunts for those who would tear the alliance apart, but it soon finds itself attacked from another direction. Hanvar's council, long jealous and fearful of Avadon's influence, tries to weaken its power. Avadon is then forced to use some of its limited power to defend itself from attacks from within the pack. They are hard days. Redbeard works to the limits of human endurance and beyond. When one problem is solved, two spring up to replace it. Unrest in Linnaeus, both in the pack and the Farlands, increases dramatically. But when times are hardest, your fellow warriors develop a habit. They look each other in the eye and say, "We are Avadon." Then they work and learn and fight twice as hard. They do not know who is working to undermine the pack, but they are determined to find out. As the attacks increase, they struggle to learn the identity of their assailant. He or she can't hide forever. Day and night, they leave the Black Fortress, risking attacks as they roam the free roads, trying to find the hidden enemy before Linnaeus crumbles into war. The first volleys have been launched. The true battle still lies ahead. You will be ready for it. Okay, everybody, and that was Avadon the Black Fortress. That was the ending. Or at least one of the few endings I had, and the one I got. Now, as far as the choices I made, I did try to stay to all the canon choices that I asked about with other Spyware Software fans. And maybe on my own time, I'll explore all the other options and other possible endings, but for me, I'm fully satisfied with the choices and playthrough I made, even though the only choice I disagree with is regarding Duke Griffin, but I know the canon choice is to spare him anyway. So, yeah, that's the only thing. And overall, I really enjoyed the game. It was great to revisit this, and I can't wait to get into Avadon 2 really soon with you all. So with that in mind, I hope you all really enjoyed this Let's Play, and I'll see you all later for Avadon 2. Hope you all really enjoyed this.